absolutely can, but you have to be a part, like you have to merge in with that version of you. So if you merge into the 8th dimensional version of you, you can break all the soul contracts. It's only the physical part that has the ability to do that. All the rest are like rules and regulations and contracts and like a great big office building of legalities. And then that's why I always say that we're the most powerful of the oversoul, is because we're the ones that have the ability to break those things. Like if you think of back in like Greek times, for instance, the sirens had all that power to kill, but they had body counts. They needed a certain number. Once I've helped people with their siren life, they become mermaids, which is super interesting because they break those contracts. Lots of weird stuff. Too long to go into. Okay, I'm going to try to go into it a little bit further, see if I can break it down. We used to have free reign everywhere, in every dimension, in every realm, everywhere. Part of that source computer. It's another thing when I talk about like everybody is part of the gods, the goddesses, the deities, all that shit. Part of the weather, everything. We all used to have control over everything. Everybody did. All dimensions, all realms. It was just like a free-for-all. It was just great. And there wasn't even like trauma. It was like there was gods of war. There was gods of peace. Like everybody had their own part and they just all existed. As we started to slowly die, we used to be immortal, and we kind of are, like we still are if we remember. But as we slowly started to die, there was an implement. It's in my Project Earth series, which is in my viewing room in my link tree. As we started to die and become human instead of the gods and goddesses, like, you know, smaller and shorter and shorter and shorter, because we used to be giants. We got the amnesia, and when we got the amnesia, we lost our connection to our other realms, our other abilities, our other dimensional forms. And like everything got put on lockdown. So the Serephem, which is the 24th dimensional form that everybody has, it got corrupted and they got locked up in chains around this throne, and we've dismantled the throne. It was like fake gold on a fucking, it was not supposed to be there. There was not supposed to be a throne. And they were chained up and they had contracts. The ones that were like, holy, 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 whatever. That shit was there. That existed. But once we unlocked it, you know, it no longer needs to be there. And I used to always say like heaven is on earth and hell is on earth. It's emotions, it's feelings and experience. Until I went there. There is a heaven that's the 24th dimension. There's underworld too. There's little levels of hell. They're just not torturous. And I have a series on my YT about cleaning the underworld, like that whole experience. And also there's another realm of the underworld that had like a literal furnace. And there's so much that I've experienced. Kate too, like we were together through looking at pretty much all of it. I spent most of 2020 with her, like unlocking, 2019, 2020, part of 2020, finding all these things that were locked up, the sea monsters, aliens, angels. The system got corrupted. There's a couple different types of like government. There was like world government. Of course, there's local governments inside of that. There was a galactic government. There is a negative 12th dimension government. There's a religious government. But even in those dimensional properties, the parts that are part of the dimensional forms that are part of the government, we all have a dimensional form that we're part of the governments, which is hard to explain, but we're all 13 oversouls. And they had no connection of free will either, because our amnesia happened. Like it took over the system. And they are like pencil pushers. So that's why I'm never like us versus them. It's just things that need to remember. Everybody just needs to remember. That's all. And that's also why I'm never disgusted by anybody like hexing anybody or anything like that, because I don't see wrong and right like that. Anybody remembering how to utilize their abilities is that's what I hope for, is everybody to remember. I've got like 1.5 million situations, scenarios, and story times running through my head. And I'm trying to, like, I just sat here for a good full minute trying to think of like which examples to use, and I just have so many. I've still never told the full story of what we did when we discovered the 24th dimension and helping break the Serephem free and all of that. And I think I just need to tell that story. So, right after this little series that I'm posting right now, I'm going to find the beginning series of where I discovered all the eyes and the caves of the 24th dimension. And I think I'll try to tell that story. Okay. This is the most difficult series that I've ever made, so much so that that this healing happened back in July, and I've never talked about it. Not all the way. Only the people that were involved in it know what happened, and there were probably between 5 to 10 people involved in this healing. In this series, I'm going to be speaking only on stuff that I experienced firsthand, and I'm not going to be mentioning names. There are a couple of reasons why I haven't talked about this puzzle-solving adventure before. One, I had PTSD from 2017 when I saw that I was a soul fragment of Michael. Back then, it was completely unheard of. It's still unheard of from a lot of people, but more people are becoming more aware of the fact that they also are part of these archangels, that all of us are. We're starting to remember. But to see myself as a Serephem, and also there's a lot of drama in the story. I will mention names of people I still currently work with, and I'm going to leave the other names out. If you've been with me since March, April, you'll probably know the people I'm talking about, but I'm not going to say their names. I don't do that. So this starts out one day I was on a phone call with my friend Kate. Actually, earlier that day or the day before, I had seen this kind of like a YouTube video that my friend Laura sent me that had like alien technology and stuff, and there was this like alien ship kind of thing, and it was black and it had like eyes, and they had it captive, and they were showing it on YouTube, like what it really looked like, and I was like, oh, that's really weird. And then either that day or the next day, again, this was back in July, so I don't remember, something was happening to me, and I was on the phone with my friend Kate, and we went to go look at it, and we saw myself in this Serephem form. We saw me in this thing, and we were in a cave. I had no clue what that thing even fucking was. Like, I was raised in the church, but we didn't study the different types of, like, angels and shit at all. Kate knew what it was, but she knows that kind of stuff. I don't fucking know that stuff. All of a sudden, I started to morph and change, and I was like, what the fuck is happening to me? I was like going through some weird activation. She was told, energetically told, she needed to activate. So she sent the wheels like going and spinning, and then I turned into this. Now, I didn't have an image. I was feeling, and I was like, Kate, what are these bandages on my head? And we looked up this image afterwards. I literally felt bandages on my head. I didn't know that that picture existed. Also, if you've known me for any amount of time, you know that I feel, I don't see. And at this juncture of my journey, I was really looking for my eyes. I had bandages covering all my eyes. So as Kate started to take the bandages off my head, also at this juncture, we were inside this like cave thing, and it was really dark, and it was really damp, and it had eyes all around the walls, like just like hundreds and thousands of eyes, which I found that out months later what the fuck those eyes were. But at this moment in time, it was just a cave with a bunch of fucking eyes. And I had these bandages on my head, and I was asking Kate to like help me take these bandages off, and we laugh when we're on the phone doing this stuff because it's like, oh my god, she's like, these are crusty and nasty, and I was like, well, yeah, I feel like they've been on my eyes for like millions of years, and yes, I know time doesn't exist like that, but it did, and it has to do with why heaven was locked up. That's a whole, I think I'm going to get into that in this series. That's a long story. So she took the bandages off, and then all of a sudden I started growing eyes. Now, when I say I'm growing eyes, I don't just mean growing eyes. I started growing eyes not just on my forehead and all over my head, but all over my body. I felt eyes going everywhere, just growing all over me. And I was like, Kate, what the fuck is happening to me? And she could see it. I could feel it. And she was like, you're growing eyes all over you. And I was like, yeah, I can feel that I'm growing eyes all over me. Another thing that was weird is, like when she showed that Serephem thing, because she was like, this is like at the beginning of the series when I was talking about the Serephem thing, I looked at it and went, that's me. And this was like the first time in my life that I was able to look at something and go, that's me. Like I just knew without a doubt, like that's me. And then as we progressed, we could feel the truth of it all. I was seriously growing eyes all over my body. And Kate just pretty much sat on the phone and energetically just watched me grow eyes. Talk about a bonding moment. We had just started working together. After about 15 minutes straight of me just growing these eyes all over my body in this cave, in this 24th dimension, which I didn't even fucking know there were 24 dimensions. I had no clue until I was up there doing this. After I grew all of those eyes, I was guided by spirit, by source, to scrape them all off and like fling them off of me. Basically, when anybody gets third eye upgrades, it's one of us that are a part of that oversoul, if like growing the eyes for everybody so they could get a third eye upgrade. Again, I am not the only person doing this. I was just the human experiencing this exact moment. Has another human experienced this moment? I have no fucking clue. Quite possibly. This is just what I experienced. So it was an upgrade for all that had their third eye open and a new wave. So again, Kate's just sitting there watching me grow all these eyes, and I scrape all these eyes off, and then I'm like, well, now what the fuck do I do? Didn't take long to figure out that I was growing another set of eyes. I started growing them all over me again, head to toe, in every nook and cranny, even inside my mouth, which was extremely uncomfortable and very fucking weird feeling. Honestly, that's the first time I'd ever been that in tune with what I was feeling. 11/11. Because I could see it and feel it, as if I was standing outside of myself and in my body. It was the fucking weirdest shit, because I feel, I don't see. After I got off the phone with Kate, I had a puzzle solving adventure scheduled with trophy wife Thug Life. First time working with her on the phone, and that was the most intense healing session I have ever done. I'll stop there for this part of the story. Yeah, I still don't know if I want to do the drama parts. Okay, I decided I am going to use names because this was back in like 2020 and none of those people are with me anymore. And if you know their TikTok handle, then cool. Otherwise, they're just going to be random fucking names for you. Unless you've been with me since 2020 and you remember these fucking people, then good on ya. Kate's name is still there, and Matan, he's part of the story. So, and we're still friends, so there's that. Also, again, this story that I'm telling you is I came from a Christian background, and then I went from Christian background into that love and light hierarchy, twin flame, weird sector, and I had to like experience a lot of shit to break that programming, okay? So, a lot of this stuff is a little bit gross, the way my mindset worked back then, but I didn't fucking know any better, and now I do know better. So I'm just letting you know, because I don't want to leave any of that out, and I don't want it to be unauthentic to the experience. Remember, I've never told this story, ever. I actually have, like, screenshots where I was trying to talk to somebody from it. I have that saved. I've just never posted about it because I had so much. I had friend trauma, man, big time. Okay, So this was during July of 2020, and Kate and I had just had that experience. I just uploaded the series before this one that I recorded in January of 2021. But this story happened in July of 2020. This healing story time. So Kate and I just had this experience, and it was just her and I on the phone, and we were up in the 24th dimension, and neither of us had ever fucking been there before. I was inside this weird ass fucking cave, and there were eyes, but like all like hundreds of thousands of them all over this damp ass fucking cave. And we realized later, and I'm going to put some of the like realization stuff into the story too, just so you know, based off of things now. That version of me was in this like weird chair, and I had the matrix cord, that fear cord thing, that I have a fear cord removal. Well, the fear cord removal thing came first, and then later on we discovered, like not even during this time frame, just like later on, like later in 2021 or in 2022, we discovered that fear cord, that matrix cord was plugged into me, and I was like a battery source in that cave in the 24th dimension, and that's why I could feel time. And Kate was just sitting there, just every day visiting me, because no time existed for her in that form. So after that call that night, Kate was talking to other people that she knew on the app. Kate and I had just started working together. We just started being friends. We didn't even know if we were friends or not. We just really enjoyed each other, and we both had our weird friend trauma, so it was really difficult for us to figure out if we were supposed to talk. That's a whole nother story, sorry. Anyway, so Kate was talking to this girl named Ashley, and I have not said that name in a really long time. They started talking about some sort of like chakra rock things or whatever, and Kate wanted to have a call with me, and I was like, I mean, I guess, okay. So we got on the phone, and it ended up, this adventure took us to the 24th dimension again, and we were looking at this person's, again, I can't see, this was, like, my eyes were gone again, like, I always had, like, bursts of things, and then they would go away again, and I found that out later, but whatever. So we were helping her, and there was this big, giant cave thing. And inside this cave, I had a cave too, but inside her cave, she had, like, a tree in the corner, like an octopus thing, a bee thing. It was, like, this intricate puzzle, like a booby trap puzzle. And there was, like, a transformer kind of Serephem, like a, robotic alien angel combo hybrid fucking thing. You had to go through this puzzle to unlock it and see it. I'm starting to wonder if that was the first person we worked with. I think so. So it was a big, like, organic, like, crazy puzzle, but I was like, the tree is my stuff, and these tentacles are my things. And then the bee stuff, that wasn't mine. And then there was stuff that was Kate's in there too. There was a bunch of weird stuff in there that didn't fit with that person's personality, and that was fucking confusing at the time. We start having her step into, we didn't understand the process of, like, merging into things or going quickly. Like, we hadn't discovered that stuff yet, guys. We used to do things the long way. So we had her step into that, like, Serephem form of her. And it was like, there was different pieces. Like, some were yellow, some were red, some were blue. Like, there were different pieces on this thing. So Kate's a mechanic. So Kate starts to get to work and starts, like, getting it activated and getting it spinning again. Well, we're like, okay, well, if she's a Serephem and we already saw Kate in the cave and I'm in the cave, who else do we know that are Serephem? Now, remember, I told you there's some gross parts of this. Because of the upbringing I came from, and because nobody else was doing what we were doing, we literally thought we were Serephem, nobody else. Because there was only, like, 13 of them, or 12 of them, or whatever the case. That comes later in the story. But we were like, oh my God, this person, we have found another one. We found another Serephem. Let's help them. That's gross. We've looked at it. We look further. So, like, the same way that people will be like, I am a creator god. And it's like, well, look around you, bro. Where's everybody else? Like, look and see where everybody else is. You're not the only one. That's all I'm saying. So coming from that kind of upbringing and stuff like that, that's the gross part. Well, we helped her, whatever, and then I was like, we tried to discover with Kate seeing, I kind of would have her, like, I would ask her questions and she would look and see. So there was like 12 of them lined up on a hill, and we were like, okay, so we have 12 we have to find. So then, based off of the people that we knew and who we were working with, we were like, okay, I wonder if so-and-so is part of them, is one of the Serephem. Everybody is, okay? Everybody is. So, we grabbed, that's right, I'm just going to tell you names because you guys don't know these people. So, we got on the phone with Chelsea, and we took Chelsea up to hers, and her cave was really interesting. It was like a state. It reminded me of like one of those showrooms for cars, but like all brick with like cubby holes in it, and it was like the wheel or whatever. And so she had to step on it, and she had to light up these things in a certain order. Her puzzle was really simple, and then we activated her like Serephem. And it was beat to shit. Like, it was beat to shit. And it had, like, a starfish over its mouth. And, like, half of its fucking face was gone. And then once Kate helped it, like, Kate fixed it. Because, again, mechanic, aircraft stuff, you know. Alien, angel, transformer being. Once Kate fixed it, this bitch was bougie as shit. She was, like, gold, white, eleganza, like fucking everywhere or whatever. And we were like, of course she fucking is. This like fits her personality to a T or whatever. So we helped her. She was on her way. Okay. Then we worked with Carolina. So we got Carolina and we helped her with hers. Why I don't remember the story of hers too much, I don't fucking know. But hers was beat to shit too. Not as bad as Chelsea's was though. Chelsea's was like the worst. Then Kate and I both helped someone separately. I had a past life session with Lindsay. And after that session with Lindsay, for free, I walked her to help her look at her Serephem. So took her up to the 24th dimension to find her Serephem. We had to find the cave. We couldn't just go directly to the cave because we didn't know how to do that yet. We did not figure that part out yet. So we had to like go find the cave, find the location in the 24th dimension, and it was like this big, weird, like, rolling hill caves out in the distance kind of fucking thing. Like, it was a huge, weird, caves and mountainsides way far apart from each other. It was very odd. So I've helped Lindsay find hers and merge in with hers, but I didn't have the mechanic skills, and we didn't know how to copy paste yet. We didn't know how to activate the healings and all of that stuff. Of course, as you can see, why that stuff developed over time is because it makes life a lot fucking simpler. But at the time, again, doing things the long way. That's what she said. Okay. So I helped Lindsay, but I couldn't help her all the way. And so I let her know, I'm like, we're going to have to talk to Kate. Well, at that time, Kate was helping Mary. And, by the way, I'm just using names and I'm not telling you who these people are, just making the story easier. But this is like back from like 2020. So, if you're just tuning in, that's why. Anyway, so Kate helped Mary, but Kate couldn't help Mary all the way because she needed me to help with the puzzle of like the caves and stuff. So, okay, so we decided we needed to be together when we helped. Well, Kate went ahead and helped Lindsay separately, I believe. And I went to help Mary, but Mary was on some like, she was in a thing where she was starting to really not like me very much because as we were both timeline healers, I was fully booked. So I was sending, I was recommending her after I gave her a session, like she had a session with me and she knew how to do what I did. Well, she knew how to do the past life stuff. I like taught her how to do it the way I do it. And I really was naive and thought everybody coming from, like, I thought everybody came from the heart space, but they didn't. So anyway, as I was healing timeline stuff and she was healing timeline stuff and like we would both do work, it wasn't matching up, but that was before we learned how to merge timelines to the most healed timeline. So she just thought that, only she was seeing the right way and I must be stupid. And me, I was like, oh, I just want to merge with, like, if she's healed something new, I just want to go where she is. But she was thinking that I was getting half the story or some shit, even though I was, like, sending her business. This is a lot of drama. This is why I didn't want to tell this story, because a lot comes out. Anyway, So, I went to try to help Mary, but it didn't work out. We didn't end up doing it. So Kate and I both decided and figured out that we have to do this together. Okay. It works a lot better if we do things together. Next on the list was, I believe we worked with Nicole next. When we were helping people with these like Serephem things, there was these big, like intricate puzzles in order to unlock things. And it took 2 hours, like approximately 2 hours each call. So I was canceling my sessions because this was like a huge deal. This is Serephem stuff. And I was helping do these puzzles. Kate was helping me with these things. This was just hours of our life. We were like puzzle solving and doing all the things and figuring everything out. We helped Nicole together, and then we noticed like her Serephem was beat to shit. And we were like, what in the fuck is happening? Well, we had one more scheduled right after that, and that was with Matan. And Matan is from like deep structured religion based Hebrew structured religion. And so helping him merge in with his Serephem was giving him a panic attack because he did not feel worthy of it. He was freaking the fuck out like the whole time. I remember with Nicole's, there was like a whole like Wizard of Oz thing where my family was locked up, which was really fucking weird, but Nicole didn't seem to be the one that locked them up. I didn't know why that puzzle was there. I'm just letting you know that that was included too. That was really fucking weird. And a lot of the puzzles I knew the answer to, and that was another thing that was tripping me up. And I was like, oh, I guess that's because you and I, like Kate and I, are supposed to help. That comes later. So anyway, helping Matan. You had to sit in this, like, go into the orphanum, which was the little baby inside the rings thing, and sit in it and then activate it into the Serephem form. That's why I say the orphanum and the Serephem are the same form. It's just this is the baby, this is the adult, but there's no time. So that's really fucking weird. It's hard to go into. But anyway, you had to sit down in a chair and it went like backwards, but it really wasn't going backwards. It was like in those like amusement parks where the walls are going like this and it makes you feel like you're going backwards. It was really confusing. 2 hours worth of stuff, and we couldn't fully merge him with his because he didn't feel worthy of it. It was like, yeah, that one was interesting. But after that one, Kate and I were like, you know what? Let's figure some shit out on our own for a minute because this is a bit much. So then Kate and I were like, 1, why are we all in separate caves? 2, why are they all beat to shit? 3, why is everybody's cave decorated? Mine is a fucking wet cave with eyeballs in it. Kate, why don't you have a cave? Like, what the fuck is happening? And why did that one cave was like queen bee and it had fucking everything everywhere plus like an extra room full of shit? What is this? And how come I know all the puzzles? Did I beat them up? Am I the bad guy? Because I always go to like, am I the bad guy? Like, and why do I know all the puzzles? And then we figured out that this was the Battle of Revelation. So then we had to go and look at that. We had to look at fucking where the battle was, why it happened, like us versus them, who is them, where did this come from, why was everything beat to shit, all of this stuff. And we found, it was like a love story situation, and it was like an entity that wasn't even from our multiverse. It was from a different multiverse. You know how like in Stranger Things when the upside down leaks into the like regular world or whatever? Kind of like that, but it wasn't a being, but at that moment in time it looked like a being, which was like biblical God. So we're like, oh, biblical God is evil. Biblical God is a trauma virus. This is stuff, this is gross from back then, trying to, you know, good guy, bad guy, good, evil, what happened, there's a battle kind of shit. Okay, so we then discovered, once we like started working again, there were these like, we had these like chakra stones, and there were 12 Serephem, And then it all went into each of them, like one into the heart, one into the throat, one into the forehead, one into da. Even though there's millions of like chakras, there was these weird stones. And then we were looking at like the biblical text of how these stones were mentioned in there or whatever, and we were piecing things together and puzzle solving. This part's cloudy for some reason. Also, we figured out like the ones that had their Serephem were all different pieces, not the ones that were like beat to shit, but the ones that were all different pieces were stolen pieces from other Serephem, from the ones that were beat to shit. But everybody was asleep. Like all of the Serephem were in their caves like a tomb, like they were dead. But they can't be dead. They can't die. So they were like in amnesia trauma sleep, like not activated, locked up. Okay, so a lot happened while we were puzzle solving, and since this is in 2020, even though I have an extremely good memory, it's all a little bit clouded of exactly what happened. We found a like junkyard full of all the parts. We had to start cleaning the parts. There was a part of me like being the battery source that charged and woke the Serephem things up, but like Kate's 24th dimensional form has spaghetti hair. Like that's what it looks like. It's like these, but they're cords, but she has to rip a part off, and it's a cord to connect the Serephem to me, which is the battery source. And we all worked together. And then there was a person that I worked with, at the time. I had met this person. I had been friends with them for years. But their energy was like sniffing around and like, how do I put this? Energetically attacking. And so I had blocked that person without telling them. Just blocked them while I figured things out. Because even if I open a text message from them or a private message from them, I felt the attack. It hurt. It hurt really badly. So until I could figure out what was going on there, I needed to block. But yes, at that time, I was like, oh, bad guy. Because I was gross. Okay. So I had blocked them until I could figure things out. And that was the intention, until I could figure things out. Because it physically fucking hurt to open the fucking message. I'm super sensitive and I'm up in the 24th dimension. I don't fucking know. I don't have grounding straps at this time. And it was really, really, really crazy and weird. Kate ended up having to block them as well. And then we were talking to the people about why they got beat up. And then the people that we were talking to were activating their Serephem or whatever. They started making fucking posts about people tearing them up because they were part of Raphael, and then other people got mad, and then drama started because people don't know how to keep their fucking mouth shut about anything until it's all figured out. And then there was like this, our own little corner of the collective have a little battle of good guy, bad guy, and blah, 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 which is really funny because when I see it on Witch Talk, I'm like, you guys probably just know each other for past lives for like a really long time. Like we've been doing this. All of us have been doing this for forever. But okay, have your little battle. So, and then people were coming to like my page because like I was this leader of the mean girls. And I was like, no, fucking, I just didn't talk about it on my page. I just kept quiet. And I was up in the 24th dimension trying to figure shit out. The person that I ended up blocking because I could feel their energy was like in this weird dragon form, like a white dragon form, but like a Serephem dragon form. And we had to kick it out of the garden. We had it like, there's a garden up there and there was gates and we kicked it out and it was like prancing around and we were like, holy fuck. So that form, not connected to their human because the human hadn't connected to it, was like guarding or whatever, doing the things. And it was because there's no time up there, that it's like battle, you know, and we were all feeling the energy of it. So, this is when Kate and I decided, this is all like, this last couple of parts have been like, the timeline's been weird, like trying to figure it out of what really happened or like what happened in what order. But outside the gates too, there were fucking zombies. The zombies were gonna get released, and literally there were like gonna be dropped to the earth, and a zombie apocalypse was gonna start. And we started seeing, like, we saw it up in the 24th dimension, then we started seeing signs of it, of medical stuff down here on the 3-dimensional plane. And so we had to figure out how to stop the apocalypse from happening. Mind you, not to scare you, but the zombie apocalypse, like, even since that moment, almost happened like 5 or 6 times. We had to heal it 5 or 6 times in 2020 and 2021. I'm just letting you know. Yeah, it was a real thing. You can, like, check on it. You can check the Akashic if you would like to. All of this is in the Akashic too. I think I'm unlocking it. So anyway, I was trying to figure out, like, everything was beat to shit, why I had this cord stuck to my head, why everybody was asleep, but my power source was keeping them alive, but I was experiencing time and nobody else was. Everybody else was asleep, kind of like in Sleeping Beauty, where they put everybody to sleep until it's all figured out. But time on Earth takes a really long-ass motherfucking time. And then, like, if I'm the Oversoul of Michael or whatever, the Oversoul of Lucifer was down here the whole fucking time, experiencing time as well. So then that went into a whole nother thing of the, like, battle in the sky thing. And Mike never, like, cut off Luce's wings. This is in the 12th dimension, by the way. This is a side story. Luce volunteered because we needed to break down the system. So Luce was going to go down and be in the 3-dimensional, and I was going to stay up and, like, keep everything alive but frozen. And Kate was there too. When Kate and I were working on it by ourselves, we needed to, like, step away from everybody, and it was just her and me on the phone. And we opened up this weird tunnel, and it was like falling to the bottom of a well. And the bottom of the well was like us in 3D form. And you could look all the way up to the 24th form, or 24th dimension. And we realized, after we calmed everything down up there, and calmed everything down here with everybody, and that's what I'll do. I'll find those text message screenshots where I was talking to Sarah, this girl Sarah, explaining to her everything that was happening or whatever. I'll post those in one of the videos. It's going to take me a minute to find them, but that's okay. It'll kind of put things in order too, I think. So we unlocked, like, heaven, and then we realized, and we could, like, collapse the battle, and we can make it to where the battle never happened. And then once we made it to where the battle never happened, that's like we went before the thing happened, because back then we did things a long way. It was before we realized going back to before it happened makes things go a lot faster. If you can heal it before it happens, you don't have to heal in the middle of it. You can literally go back here, and it, like, so much judgment is clogged and clouded if you're in the middle of the trauma. Like, there's emotions and weird shit and puzzle pieces and all that stuff. So we went before the battle happened, and we healed it. And then all of a sudden we realized there were Serephem everywhere. All of us have a 24th dimensional form. And also, because the 24th dimension is the closest thing to heaven that the humans experience, if you want to go to the 24th dimension, not only can you see your Serephem form, but you can actually see your brother or sister or mom or dad, whether they're deceased or living or, a past life version of them. Everything exists all at once there, and everywhere, really. But up in the 24th dimension, you can really, like, really focus in and ask to see whoever you want. It's kind of like the white room in the Matrix. Just, there they are. And later on through the years, we discovered that there's a negative 24th dimensional form too, and a dark Serephem. And that's how we really, really started to feel, like, realize that this was the light masculine, this was the dark feminine, and how this vibrates at the same frequency, and it's just as powerful. And there wasn't a good and an evil, and the corruption that was there, and the trying to pit each other against each other, and how that, like, that frozen in time cord got corrupted into fear and trauma, and it became a fear cord instead of just a matrix plug. But the reason I haven't told this story is because of all the trauma from the friendship stuff. I didn't speak up and clear my name. I didn't add to the drama. I didn't say that anybody was the bad guy, even though I believed someone was at the time. I didn't clear their name. I didn't clear my name. I didn't do anything. And so people got really upset at it, and they got really just unhappy with me in general. During this time, this was like August of 2021, and all of them tried to come back, and be friends or whatever. But once they had tossed me aside, even though I knew why they did, this was pretty much a good bit of the beginning of me having boundaries. And I was like, if you can just think that poorly of me without looking into it or like trying to see my perspective or where it came from. Of course I wasn't presenting any see me in a different light. I was just staying quiet. But yeah, there's a lot there. But we went on to see that the throne that was there was bullshit. It covered in gold and all of that. That was bullshit. It's more like a garden. Everybody has a Serephem form, a light and a dark, and one in center point, which is a mix of both. And then I talk about that in the Oversouls playlist on TikTok and on YT. Also how that's like the biggest form, and then that's the biggest form, and then center point is the same size too. And it goes, either you are born from the light or born from the dark. We're all born at the same time, doesn't really matter. But your soul fragments out, it goes from this big thing into 3, and then those 3 splinter out into another. So think of a tree, the trunk and the branches, but upside down, or root system, I guess. And then this one would be the tree going up, your soul splinters out. But there's only 13 major ones. But yeah, okay. That's the whole story. I hope you could follow along. And I have finally told it. Yay! Oh yeah, screenshots. I just looked through all of those screenshots. There's about 40 to 60 of them. I am not going to post those because we've learned a lot of stuff since then. So, no. Plus it has screen names and stuff. I'm not doing that. Okay. Also, side note, while we were doing this work, there were people on TikTok that we didn't know channeling what we were doing that could tune into it, which was super fucking weird. But that's happened a few times now. Okay, bye! If you only say what you would have done.